morning. It is High Priestess Jamila. All right, so I just finished my hair and I won't be here long. I know a lot of folks is asleep right now, or maybe not. Um, I am kerfluffled right now because I need to tie down my hair. By the way, y'all will see my hair soon. I did a henna treatment, put in some clip-ins, and however, I need to tie down my hair and I can't find my hair tie that I literally just bought. I can't find it. And my first mind is to blame my daughter, who may have picked it up thinking it was hers. I don't know. So I shared a video to my community wall, and I wanted to come and talk about this real quick. And YouTube recommended this video to me. It's little over 45 minutes long. Well, it's about 48 minutes long, by the Functional Melancholic. And I really like his energy, the way he delivers, very interesting. But I wanted to come and make some commentary on his video. And so those of you that are, I guess, intellectually cognitive, healthy, maybe would want to listen to it, kind of like maybe, when you're cleaning up or at work. And it might be interesting to you. And I couldn't help myself while listening, wanting to react to it. Because there's a lot of things that I wanted to point out about a lot that he was saying. And where do I begin? First of all, I'm not going through that. Okay, I personally, the people around me are not going through feeling like nothing's real anymore. Okay, at least I hope not. But I do know how that feels because I am an empath, and I've experienced that feeling from dealing with energies that are very unreal. That because in the video, if you look at it, you might want to pause this or close this out and go look at his video. I really wish that YouTube was set up so that you could react to videos like TikTok is set up, but I've experienced that feeling, and I've even felt like I was being pulled into that kind of like alternative reality. And I felt it, I saw it, and I witnessed it, and I stepped outside of it. I stepped away from it. I stepped away from it. Okay. I enjoy um my feelings. You know what I mean? I'm used to my feelings being very joyful, to be honest with you. And I started experiencing some hard times, uh, coincidentally, when I suffered a pregnancy loss. And not once did I ever become tempted to step outside of my feelings of that experience. But then again, this is how I am. I am a Cancer, which we all know that Cancers are ruled by the moon, and we are very in tune with our emotions. And we're very good at self soothing and healing of ourselves and sometimes others. So, okay, let me sum it up from what I gathered from it. Okay, is that what a lot of people, including himself, the functional melancholic, what he has experienced is deep emotional detachment. Okay, that's pretty much what it is emotional detachment. He may not be detached from other people's emotions, but he's detached from his own. And that to me is a very dangerous place to be in ever. And so this is the number one, what we are experiencing in the world should not be just experienced in social media. It shouldn't be experienced or judged through social media. And, like I was saying before, I don't think people should totally detach from social media, but I do think that social media can become an addiction, but it can also become a space where you can get lost and you stop experiencing real life, like taking walks and going outside and doing all of those things. And it's been that way for so long that that's why a lot of people are experiencing exactly what he's talking about. Now, there are other spiritual, environmental factors globally that I believe is happening. And do I feel that this is being done on purpose? It's a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. I looked over a couple of his other videos, and one of his videos, and I didn't look at that video, but one of his videos stated that we are trapped and that we're slaves. Okay, now listen. So here's the thing about that. So you guys know that I'm like a tarot genius, I think. Okay. Other people may not agree with that, but that's what I think. Okay. And it reminds me, a lot of people in this world remind me of the hanged man. And I believe that the hanged man symbolizes where you're in a state of giving in and saying, oh, this is the way it is. This is what they want. So I'm going to give it to them, which you shouldn't be. That's why they say the hanged man in the inverted position is actually more positive, because if it's inverted, that means that you realize that you are living in somebody else's consciousness, emotions, or you're living in a state that another person wants you to live and exist and feel in, but you're making steps towards not doing that anymore, which can be really, really frustrating. It can be really, And so as I'm looking at as I look at this whole world, I feel sorry for a lot of people because a lot of people don't realize that, yeah, that's exactly what is going on, is that you are kind of being forced to sometimes care about things that you don't care about. All of these things are happening that you feel that you don't have control over, but you actually do. But a lot of people feel powerless to stop it when that's actually not the truth, you know? Uh, so that can be a very frustrating place to be in. Um, he starts speaking about the problem with living in your own reality. And so he's like, well, if we just live in our own reality that nobody else is living in, then how is that going to work? It takes deep understanding and it takes being fearless when it comes to your family and your loved ones. Who would you rather create the reality for your family and your loved ones? Would you prefer someone that may be diabolical or evil, that keeps your loved ones in a constant state of fear and depression and anxiety? Or would you prefer that to be yourself? So, the reason why I'm saying that is because that is exactly what's happening to a lot of people through many different means, is that you're not in control of your reality and what you think. And I mean, this is a very deep topic and discussion that I'm only going to touch the surface of right now because I'm sleepy. I'm tired. It doesn't look like I am going to find my freaking thing tonight. I'm going to try to look for it. I am so like kerfluffled about that, about my hair wrap. Um, okay, let me get back to what I was saying. So, this is a very deep discussion, and I do believe that there are many, many different factors that is leading to this. But what I wanted to say is that too many people allow themselves to be played. Too many people allow themselves to be puppeteered. If you know that you're being puppeteered, then change it. You don't have to look at that, you don't have to look at your job like that, like whatever you do for a living, because things will definitely feel very real if you're out on the streets, homeless with no food to eat. Okay, it's gonna get real if you do that. You know, but people need to stop clumping everything all together. I think that there's a lot of people that do that. And then also a lot of people have came to social media, and because he was mentioning several books that were written by other people. And that's good to have thought, for things to be thought provoking from other people, but you still can't just rely upon other people to define your reality for you. You can't just allow that. You have to take back control over how you feel. So then there's other factors spiritually that I believe is leading people to feel this way, which would be energy harvesting. Can leave a lot of people feeling very empty and very detached, unfamiliar with themselves. I think it boils down to it being a spiritual problem, especially right now with and I'm not saying it's anything wrong with religion, but I'm saying that the way we are supposed to look at religion is being forced upon us right now. And then also another thing that he was mentioning was that things seem staged. And so that's a that's a delusion. Okay, I will tell you that that's a delusion. Okay, I mean, it's an interesting thing to talk about, but in reality, that's a delusion. Now, if you're speaking of things in the media, that's a possibility. But as far as life is life, and that's just like I was expecting a package for my son yesterday, and a FedEx truck drove up. And I was like, "Oh, that's FedEx. They're here to bring your package." And he was like, "Well, no," and so I asked him a few hours later. I said, "Did you get your package?" And he was like, "No, I actually checked the tracking and it's not coming until tomorrow." I was like, "Oh, okay." So it's not necessarily staged. Again, I do believe that we all do live on the same earth. However, everybody is experiencing different realities. And I believe that there are some people that live in certain realities that are not very good. You know what I mean? So, that is where you have to study astrology. Astrology is going to be a very good place to start with that because I have been studying and working planetary alchemy for quite some time now. Even through my ups and downs, still studying it, still getting the guidance. One of which would be Hermes, which is the god of Mercury, right? So, from what I got from Hermes, is that we all exist physically on the same earth, but metaphysically and spiritually, as well as mentally and emotionally, we're all on different planes of existence. And so, I say that to say this is that I feel like there are certain people that are being sucked into certain realities, but they don't see it, they don't catch it. They don't, a lot of people, I will say that I can agree that there are a lot of people that will try to dictate other people's reality, especially people in social media and the media and books and things of that nature definitely can um, alter a person's thinking. And I think that having a good foundation growing up is the best way to not fall into that. But if you didn't have a good foundation growing up, 'cause I was raised by two Virgos, so go figure. But if you didn't have that early on, then as an adult, you need to create it. You need to create that foundation. You know what I'm saying? Because, that can lead to what he's going through, to what a lot of people seem to be experiencing. And I could sense it. And for me, it's not that I'm rejecting people. It's just that I'm like, no, I don't like that feeling. I don't like that feeling of, I have to be present. It's the feeling of not being present. That means that you're ungrounded. You're not grounded. That's exactly what a lot of people like me speak about when we say that a person is not grounded. That's that right there. Anybody that is familiar with my practice and listens to me knows that, knows that full well that that's what we mean. Because if you're ungrounded, then you're not in the present, and it is going to feel like it's not real. It's going to feel weird. It's that it's a creepy feeling. You know what I mean? So you have to ground yourself. And how do you do that? A lot of people say, well, you got to ground yourself. That's what I would suggest to start with. And first thing you'll want to do is connect with the earth barefoot would be the first step, obviously. So, that it was really sad, and he just seems really, really definitely melancholy. I like his vibe though. He's really calm and just, you know what I'm saying? But that's called detachment. And then you can't say, oh, well, it's social media. No, it's you. Why is it you? Because you are allowing it. Just because some unseen force wants you to live that way or feel that way doesn't mean that you have to. Now, I will say this. I will say this that mm, I have seen a lot of people, hold on, guys. I've seen a lot of people wake up to this fact and then they'll just say over and over again, I am not going to let this happen. I'm not going to let this happen. I'm not going to let this happen. But it still happens. Why does it still happen? Because, yeah, there are things being done to force you. Is it the government? Possibly. Possibly. They do what they do. But it is largely society, people in society. It really is. Um, and then certain collective consciousness. I mean, being emotionally detached is a state of it's a specific consciousness that you're living in. So you're still conscious, you're just emotionally detached. Good morning, Stefan. So I want to touch on this a lot more later. I am getting ready to lose my freaking mind, Stefan, because I cannot find my head wrap so that I can wrap my head. Oh, I am so mad about that. Where is it? But and then I went and then of course I went through the comment section, and there was a few people commenting, and one commenter that stood out Let me, because I want to quote the comment verbatim. Says, there's a lot of them. Hold on. Somebody said, I constantly have this underlying feeling of dread. Events that should bring me so much joy are all tainted with it. That's something that I can definitely understand. In fact, just recently, because I felt that, and that is because of other things, and that is because of certain things that have been going on, but it's something that I actually just did something about. But this is the comment that I wanted to say. The person says, I don't want to socialize anymore because I don't want to put on the act. So that's a certain emptiness that people are feeling. It's a social awkwardness, basically, is what it is. And I believe that this is a curse. I'm a witch. I believe this is a curse. I believe that that is something that is being done on purpose somehow. So I've never felt that way, but I have felt that feeling of, I'm so happy to be here with the people that I love, but then, what is going to happen next? You know what I'm saying? And usually the problem is not surrounding me. I mean, obviously, when I got back home to family, there was a lot of work to do, a lot of work that I had to do. But it's usually in social media. It's the things that are going on in social media. And social media is not real life. If you allow anything in social media to affect your real life, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a direct problem. You got to fix that. You got to fix that because there are people in social media and there's entities in social media. Social media is a whole trip. Social media, there are people in social media that want to affect your real life and not always in a positive fashion. Okay? They want the things that they do, the things that they say to afflict your real life. Okay? They do. They want it to affect your real life. They want it to damage you. They want to damage you emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally. And even though what he is experiencing may not necessarily, I feel like the root of the problem is social media, is people in social media. Like it may not be outward, it may not be overtly happening to him, but it's being done to him and a lot of other people covertly. It is. I've had a lot of clients that are just like, what is going on? And mainly I can see that if I keep seeing the Ten of Swords over and over again. People can go and they can view you in social media. People can just go pull up your page in social media, you know, and if you have a photograph of yourself in your pictures of your family, post it, you know, there's the energy. There's the connection. They're making a connection with you and you don't even know it. Just by looking at your photograph. You know what I mean? So I'd say what he's experiencing and what a lot of people are experiencing is an emptiness, but it is also the need to disassociate, but then not having a space to go to. And that's where you have to connect to your inner child. Because when we were children, if anything was going on, children were we were in our rooms, we're playing with our dolls or our trucks or our cars or, whatever. And you were able to create this space for you to go into. It's, I mean, you can have an opinion of something, right? Something egregious that's going on in the world. And you can even be outraged about something. But you have to give your mind time to heal. You can't just keep ingesting all of this negativity and then not allowing your mind to go to a peaceful place. You can't do it. You have to be able to. It's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with saying, oh my God, well, that's going on. Oh, that's a shame. And you have to give yourself space. Right now, everybody needs space from trauma. Right now, a lot of people do because it is being created globally, the trauma. Just, oh my God, all this horrible stuff that you're hearing about in the news. And you do have to give yourself time. And it shouldn't just be when you're asleep, it should be when you're awake as well. Right. So, if and emotional detachment is not good. That's not going to do it because then you'll be empty. Now you're creating a void unless you just want to be in a void. Okay. But then now you're not experiencing life. Now you're not experiencing joy. For me, happiness is a virtue. Okay. To me. So that's why I do as much as possible to make everybody happy, including myself. Happiness is a virtue to me. You know what I mean? Because it's healing. Happiness is healing. You know what I mean? Like it's not just laughter. Like and you also have to give your mind a break from negative thoughts. It being in social media, you are literally taking in and internalizing all of these different emotions. And here lately, I'd say one of the biggest things that's doing it is the fact that we are watching we're able to see too much real stuff too. Like remember when that guy set himself on fire, the Charlie Kirk shooting. I didn't need to see that. I didn't want to see that. They could have just told me that it happened and I'd have believed them. No, instead the video was being replayed over and over and over again. It's like somebody got shot. I didn't want to see blood squirting from this man's neck, but that's what we're witnessing. We're witnessing that. We're witnessing live, you know, um, police chases and car crashes and stuff. And so this is something that you probably need to take a break from and collect yourself. Okay. Then also there's a whole lot of other things that I could talk about spiritually. that people would say, "Oh, well, I don't believe in that." But you believe in what you are saying. This is what I don't understand about the world. I don't understand why people point out the problem, but they don't want to hear any solutions. They don't want to explore solutions. You don't have to practice witchcraft to to benefit from the solution. So it just and so it's really interesting, and I'll talk about this more later. Right now I need to find my head wrap. I am like really, I guess I could just go on Amazon and order another one to get delivered. I think that's what I'm gonna do. It's very upsetting. I can't find my head wrap, and I literally, it's been sitting here for days because it took me days to prep and remove my braid extensions. So, oh goodness. Yeah, deep stuff, man. And it is happening to a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? Like and but you just, why would you let it happen? You don't have to give in to that. You can't say, well, the government did this to me, or these people are doing this to me, or they're making this happen. It's like, really, like, and then when you mention God, people say, oh, well, I don't really believe in God, but you believe in other people do, like, okay, you know what I mean? And I don't just believe in God. I'm a polytheist. Okay, I believe in one creator, but I also believe in the creator creating many gods. Okay, it's a lot. Our universe is huge. It's a lot. So it would make sense. It makes sense to me that that God would um have his army, his you know so anyway, that's pretty much it, you guys. I'm gonna look for my thing, and if, if I can't find it, I'm just gonna be like so kerfluffled about it. Oh my goodness, I gotta find that thing. It's gotta be somewhere around here. I'll see you guys later. Check out his video though, and I'll come back and talk more about this. But yeah, and then also I do believe that there is a lot of psychic vampirism that's going on. It's a lot of it going on, and a lot of people just haven't paid attention because they're like, oh, well, that's malarkey, that's hocus pocus. And it's like, well, I guess, but look at what you're experiencing. Look, you didn't realize how much your reality is being manipulated in that way. You didn't know that? Well, now you do. Okay. All right, guys. That's pretty much all I wanted to say. I got to go. Y'all have a happy Thursday. Okay.